Welcome to a slow flow. We will take a little bit care of our expectations and, as usual, work on a deeper understanding of ourselves. That's, in the end, the reason why we're coming to the mat. Now, I will ask you to have a mat, whichever way you would like to face it. If I was to practice, I would have the short end facing the screen. That's my preference. And if you have trouble sitting, because that's the form in which we begin the practice, I've got a block here. You might not have blocks at home. Grab a cushion. We don't need this prop for anything else, really, unless you use it regularly in your practice. So we begin in a seated shape, and we'll allow our morning bodies a tiny bit of time. So we'll just move around a little, get into wiggling over the sit bones so we can get a sense of grounding ourselves, as really an understanding that we might thrive for in the practice might sit towards the upper body. It is our lower body that needs to be stable, filled with energy, strength and support that will enable us to get access even to that that we're looking for, that union of our mind with our body and the universe around us. So please do move the body in a way that suits you. I will still be demonstrating mainly with my right arm, while I will try and choose words carefully, so you will move both. Please keep that in mind if you're looking at me on the screen. Let us close the eyes for a moment and allow ourselves to draw the attention to our base, that we are sitting on right now. And potentially noticing tendencies such as leaning backwards or leaning forward. And can you, with a slight movement in the lower part of the body, maybe find your center? It doesn't matter what anything looks like on the outside. It's more of, what do you feel? And this morning, I would ask you to begin to deepen the breath, as we usually do, potentially full yogic breathing. So from belly to ribs to collarbones, and out in the same way, belly, ribs to collarbones. Leaving your breath flowing in and out of the nose. And for those of you wanting to add Ujjayi technique, please feel free to just narrow down the air passage in the throat and create that hissing sound that accompanies the Ujjayi technique. Your aim would be to have a long, deep in and out breath. I would ask you then to keep this breath flowing and to bring your hands up in front of the chest, but without really touching them together. The palms of the hands are facing each other, and you start to feel that there's an energy exchange between the hands. If you can't feel that energy exchange, try and visualize it. Now, with your next deep in-breath, let your arms drift apart, but keep the palms of the hands facing each other. You can extend your arms as far as feels right for you while the palms are still facing. I would ask you to just tune in with your left hand only. Feeling what energy is present in the left hand. And then drawing your awareness to the right hand. Noticing the energy present in the right hand. As you keep your deep breaths flowing, on the next out breath, condense the energy as you bring your hands closer together. And again, do not let them touch, just keep them separate as you bring that in front of you. And as you're next inhaling, extending the arms back out in the same way we did before, palms still facing each other. And now as you're next exhaling and you're pushing the energy towards each other, crossing the arms, one closer than the other, as if you're pushing the energies now in opposite directions in front of your chest. If you're struggling what that means, you can have a look. And as you're next inhaling again, open the arms, palms again facing as you open as far as suits. And we're changing the arm that was in front as we're crossing again, the energy just passing by as we press them out in opposing directions. Now, I will ask you to continue that, keeping in mind the different energies that you're holding in each hand, how they are connected in a way, and also noticing what occurs within you the moment you're crossing those energies over. Maybe you're feeling somehow attached to one of them. Maybe you have a desire to bring them together. Deep full breath in as you open the arms, and out when you're crossing. When you next inhale to open the arms, we will bring the hands to face again, right in front of the chest and quite close together. Allowing lightly your head to bow towards that energy, and if you like, you can even open the eyes and look into it. Maybe there's one arm or one hand that you're using more than the other. I invite you to keep the awareness of the two sides of the body present within your practice. As we will breathe in and extend just the left arm upwards, while you're pushing across to the other side with the right, begin to bend sideways. Now, when you come back to sit, open the arms out, let them face the palms, that is. And as you're breathing out, as if you were to condense the energy again right in front of your heart, bringing them to face. With the next inhale now, lifting the other arm up, pushing across with the lower as you come into a side bend. As you breathe in, open the arms, coming into your seated shape. And as you're breathing out, now we're condensing the energy again, bringing the hands to just face in front, but not quite touch. And then hold the energy as you touch your fingertips and wrists together. and fold it forward, releasing any support that you might have underneath you as we come onto all fours. As we find our stance here, you might choose to tuck the toes under, finding an inhale as you soften your elbows and lift your tail and gaze. And when you're breathing out now, rounding deeply into your back. As we're inhaling, soften the elbows, lifting your tail and gaze. Slightly modified cat-cow movement as we're breathing out, round your back. Inhaling, soft elbows, lifting tail and gaze. Exhaling and round into your back. Let's do that a couple more times. Starting to acknowledge the pace of your breath in which you're moving. And I'm trying to leave you plenty of time to adjust the pace to your needs. Once we've completed the round, neutralize the spine again. And with the next inhale, lifting your right arm up and maybe following it with the gaze. And with the outburst, then we will thread the needle. You might come to lie down onto your shoulder and onto your ear. You might come up onto the fingertips of the left hand. And just looking underneath the left arm. If you feel you want to do an extension, extend the left leg out. You can choose here to keep your toes on the ground or even lift the leg and point out through the toes. We will then lower the knee back down onto the ground, potentially tucking toes back under. Plant the left hand onto the floor as you come back up onto all fours. Inhale, bend your elbows, lifting tail and gaze. And now in the out breath as you're rounding, if you like, both knees can come a little bit off the ground. As you lower them again, soften the elbows, inhale, lift tail and gaze. On the exhale, round and maybe the knees off the floor. Now repeat that for 3 more. Just lifting and opening and then rounding with that potential lift off the knees, just a couple of centimeters off the ground. Go for 1 more. Before you land again with the knees on the ground in a neutral spine. We'll thread the needle on the other side. So while you're inhaling now, lift your left arm up, looking up. And as you're breathing out, thread the needle. Come to rest onto your ear, onto your shoulder. And you could come up onto the fingertips of the right hand, building a window to look through. If you would like more, you can slide the right leg out. Maybe toes stay on the floor, or if you like to lift them, you might want to point the toes. Placing the knee back down onto the ground, and then the right hand flat onto the mat. Lift yourself up as we come back onto all fours. I'll ask you now to tuck the toes under, and if that suits, start to lift the knees as we come into our first downward dog. Now on your in-breath, roll the spine forward and find a plank. If that's too strong, please bring your knees down to the mat. Pushing forward on your toes, rounding the spine up and lifting your hips again, downward dog. Inhale, roll the spine forward, find your plank. Pushing forward on the toes, round your back and lift again for a downward dog. Let's come forward 1 more time as we breathe in, roll forward into your plank. And there's an option now of bringing the knees down still as we exhale from here to lower onto the mat. Let your arms release along the side of the body. Bending your elbows then as you keep the arms a little bit out towards the sides. Tops of the feet are on the ground. And either you're using your fingertips here for a cobra, or you're lifting up the head, the chest, the arms, and drawing your elbows down into the sides of the waist as you're holding. Deep breaths if possible. Doing less if you want some support. And a breath out to release back down onto the mat. Let's bring the hands again along by the side of the rib cage, flat onto the ground. As you inhale, push back up onto all fours, tuck your toes, lift back into a down dog. And this down dog, I invite you to move as you could walk out through arms and legs. Keep your down dog moving for a few breaths. And then walking your feet up to the front end of the mat. Take an inhale, come to a half lift. Breathe out and bend down. Inhale here. Now on your out breath, start to curl the body up into standing. Open the arms with the palms facing as you come to stand on the inhale. And we will push the arms while the knees are softening a little bit into opposite directions right in front of the chest. So while you're taking an in-breath then, you might straighten the legs, keep the palms facing, the arms moving apart. And then soften the knees and push as we're crossing the opposite way. Now with the next inhale, open the arms again. And this time leave the palms facing, but without touching in front of the chest. We will inhale and lift the left arm up, and you could follow it with the gaze if you like. And then push across, same as we did seated, and come into a side bend. On the inhale, return to stand, open arms. On the out breath, soften the knees and bring the palms to face. On the inhale now, extend the other arm. And we're coming into a side bend, pushing across in the opposite direction. On the inhale, open your arms back out towards the side. And this time, let us interlace the hands behind the back on the out breath. Pull the arms down your back as you begin to open your chest and your gaze. And then bend your knees deeply as you fold your belly to the thighs. The arms might lift away from the back as we're extending the hips up. Release your hands now towards the floor. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine forward, half lift. And on your out breath, let's step our right foot back into a lunge. You can place the right knee to the ground or just curl up from here. And while you're inhaling, open the arms back out towards the sides. And condensing that in front of your chest as you soften your back knee. With the inhale, extending your right arm up. And with the exhale, push across and bend to the side. So if you can pause here for a moment. We will then open the arms again on the inhale. On the exhale, bring the hands to face and maybe lower your back heel to the ground. Both arms will extend upwards on a breath in, and we're holding here for warrior one. Your gaze could be up, straight forward. Palms could touch. With the next inhale now, come off the back heel. Both hands now touching down onto the mat as you're breathing out. We're stepping that back into a downward facing dog. With the inhale now, roll the spine forward, come into your plank or kneeling plank. With the exhale, lower back down onto the floor. Resting the forehead down, let the arms come along the sides, bending the elbows. So you can keep your hands really wide, just fingertips on the ground for a cobra. Or you could lift again. Upper body only, arms maybe lifting out, drawing the elbows into the sides of the waist as you're holding here. Your two variations. And then release to the mat, hands flat by the sides of the lower ribs. On the inhale, come to your fours, tuck your toes. And your breath out takes you into downward facing dog. Let us lift the right leg up on the in-breath. And on the out-breath, draw your right knee into the chest. Your nose tucks in towards the knee. And we're bringing the foot forward between the hands. Please feel free to help it there. Lengthen your spine as you're breathing in. Collapse the whole lunge together with the upper body as you're breathing out. And then push it forward as we inhale. Come straight to a half lift at the front. And with your out breath, fold it down. Now hold here as you're inhaling. And then curl yourself back up into standing while you're breathing out. We'll open the arms again, palms facing on the in-breath. As we bend the knees on the out-breath, let the hands cross again in front of your chest, pushing to the opposite sides. Still aware of the two sides as we inhale, straighten legs, palms facing again, arms wide. And once more, we will cross the other way as we're pushing. On the inhale, open the arms, legs strong, foundation steady. And then soften the knees again as you let your hands face, but come really close. We will inhale to extend the right arm, maybe following it with the gaze. Going back into the side bend as you push into the opposite direction and bending to the side. On the inhale, rise to stand, palms facing, arms wide. Soften the knees, bring the hands close without touch. On the inhale, extend your left arm up and you might follow that with the gaze. And as you're breathing out, push the right hand across and come into the side bend. Now, inhale, arms go wide again as we come to stand. And as you're breathing out, when you're interlacing the hands behind your back, changing the interlace of your fingers, pull down the arms as you open through the chest, the gaze. And then bend your knees deeply, let your belly rest over your thighs while you're folding forward. The arms might lift away from the back. Tailbone rising. Releasing your hands down towards the mat. Take an inhale for a half lift. And we're stepping the left foot back on the out breath. Soften the back knee as you're rising up to stand. Open the arms out, wide palms facing. We'll push the hands to face each other in front of the chest. Now with the next inhale, extending the left arm up. And we're pushing out with the right hand as we're coming into our side bend. Let's hold that for a moment. As we center ourselves again, open the arms once more. Keep arms facing if that works for you. And while you're breathing out, lower the back heel and let the hands come close again. As we inhale, you can extend both arms up, maybe lifting the gaze to a warrior one. See yourself grounded through both feet and keep the arches of the feet engaged. As we inhale, push back, heel off the ground. As we exhale, bring your hands down onto the floor. Step it back for a downward facing dog. Breathe in, roll the spine forward. Maybe your knees come to the floor if you want that extra support. And on the out breath, keep your elbows close and slowly lower down onto the front of your body. Press the forehead down. This is the last round. We'll practice the same back bend or choice. So while the arms might start by the sides, bend the elbows so they're nice and wide. Fingertips can stay on the ground. Tops of the feet will. And as you inhale, lift the upper body. Fingertips down will support you into very wide-armed cobra. The other one, you'll squeeze the elbows along into the sides. Stay for another breath. And then with the following exhale, hands landing flat by the sides of the ribs, you lower. On the inhale, come up onto all fours, tuck your toes, and here's your down dog. And if you feel you would like to move this down dog, please do. Finding our stance in a different shape. Now let's lift the left leg up on an in-breath. On the out-breath, bring your knee to your chest, your nose to your knee. And then land the foot forward between the hands. While you come onto your fingertips on the in-breath, collapse the whole shape, bend the back knee, upper body hanging down. And when you're breathing in, come straight forward into a half lift. And with the out breath then, lower again. Wait for the next exhalation so you can curl yourself up into standing. Open the arms out wide, inhale. Exhale, soften the knees as we're pushing the palms to face each other. On the inhale, open the arms. On the exhale, interlace the hands behind your back. On the inhale, draw down and open the front of your body. On the exhale, bend your knees, belly to the thighs, maybe arms away from the back. And release the hands again. Inhaling, come to half lift. Exhaling, stepping your right foot back again. We'll soften the back knee. As we rise up to stand, the arms are opening again out towards the sides. And while we're breathing out, condense the energy in front of your chest. Right arm reaches up for the in-breath, going back into the side bend as you push across and leaning to the side. While we will open the arms again, inhale, lower your back heel down, condense energy again in front of your chest. Instead of extending the arms upwards, bring them back out, away from the body, turn the body. Then interlace your hands behind your back. Pull the arms down and open the front. And here's a humble warrior for you as you lean towards the inside of the front knee. Maybe the arms lifting away from the back. Let's pause here. There's quite a lot of weight now leaning into just your front foot. Acknowledge that, but also ground down through the back foot, while as you could look back towards it, you see the arch of the foot risen away from the ground. So more grounding through the outer edge of the foot while keeping all 5 toes on the mat. Now let us release the hands down towards the floor. Lift the back heel again and step it into a downward facing dog. With the next inhale now, roll forward into your plank or kneeling plank. Breathe out to lower onto the mat again. Now you can choose to rise from there now in your normal cobra or keep the arms wide, your choice, doing any of what we've already done or extending into a normal cobra. Let's still hold that for another breath. Before you release down to the mat, bring the hands back down by the sides of your lower ribs. Push into the ground as you rise onto all fours on the inhale and curl and round your spine back into down dog on the exhale. Now, while you might either choose to move or just concentrate on a deeper breath. Feeling a sensation of being still connected to the ground underneath you, but using your hands evenly as your feet. Let's lift the right leg up on the in-breath. On the out-breath, bring your knee into the chest, your nose towards the knee. And then land the foot forward between the hands. Come to fingertips as we're lengthening the spine. Collapse it all as you're breathing out. And again, we will use the in-breath to step forward and come to a half lift. And then breathing out to fold again. Waiting for the next exhale. As we're rolling ourselves back up into standing, the in-breath as we open the arms out, palms still facing. Soften the knees as you condense. Inhaling, open. And as you're exhaling, interlace behind and change the fingers of your interlace. Pull down the back as we inhale to open. On the exhale, bend your knees to fold and the arms might lift away from the back. And let your hands drop down towards the mat. Finding the inhale again. With the exhale, stepping your left foot back into a lunge. Soften the back knee. Roll yourself up. Open the arms back out, palms facing. Condense as you're breathing out and sinking into the lunge. We will extend the left arm up on the inhale, pushing across and bending to the other side. Now, as we rise to stand again on the in-breath, let's lower the back heel down, pushing palms towards each other. And as we're inhaling, turn the body open, arms extending sideways. And we will find the odd interlace behind our backs. Let's pull the arms down and open the front body, preparation for a humble warrior. And as you're exhaling, lean the upper body forward towards the inside of the front knee. Your arms might lift away from your back. Let the head lower. And once again, while the hands are interlaced and these energies brought together, focusing on the energy against the floor. The potential sensation of heaviness towards the front foot and aiming to balance that with the back foot, if possible. That lift of the arch while deeply grounded through the back foot. Now let your hands release back to the mat and step it into a downward facing dog. I will set you free from here. If you enjoyed the variations of back bends today, you could still play with them. Otherwise, could you very slowly move through a very common vinyasa flow. We will meet each other again in a downward facing dog. Taking a full deep breath in and out. Before lifting the left leg back up into the air. And with the exhale, bring your knee into the chest, the nose towards the knee. And then land the foot forward in between your hands. As we come to the fingertips for the inhale for length. And then collapse the lunge, include the back leg, the upper body. And when you're inhaling, we're stepping that forward, finding our half lift again. With the exhale, come to fold. Waiting again for the out-breath so we can roll ourselves up into standing. Open your arms up, breathing in. As we breathe out, soften the knees, push the palms to face. We will extend the right arm up on the inhale and bending sideways as we push out with the left hand in the opposite direction. While we will inhale, opening the arms again. On the exhale, soften the knees, palms facing. On the inhale, extending the left arm. Go back to side bend as we push to the other side. On the inhale, find your center. On the exhale, condense the energy once more in front of the chest. For a moment, you might even close your eyes. holding the energy between the hands. And although they're quite close, still perceiving them as opposite sides. Now with your next inhalation, lift that energy and your right knee. Ankle comes to the thigh as you open the arms back out. Noticing how they're separate as you can sink into your standing leg. And then cross the arms as you're pushing to opposite sides. Let your legs slide across. Keep the arms now intertwining as you bring the hands to touch or hug your shoulders, sinking into your eagle shape, where everything is crossed. The opposite, now the same. Well, we will open the arms again out to face the palms, the knee is lifting. And we will step that back into our lunge as the palms come close again. Reaching up through the right hand on the in-breath. Push over to the side as we're bending again. While we're inhaling, open the arms, ground through the heel, touch the palms almost. Inhale to open, we're returning to a humble warrior as we're interlacing the hands again behind our back. Let's lengthen the arms down and find openness through the front. Then fold towards the inside of the knee where the arms might be lifting away from the back. Finding your stance again, front and back foot. Then release the hands down towards the floor. We will keep ourselves in this shape with the feet. We will reach forward with the left hand and you might look into it. We're keeping our front knee in a bend and we're exalting the warrior this time, where the other hand can just slide down the back leg. So if you were taking one hand and its energy and lift it right up. You could even keep looking into the palm of this hand. Now on the next inhale, straighten the front leg. And as you're exhaling, turn this around into a triangle as the other arm might lift. And you could rest the back of the hand to the inside of your leg. We will roll the arm and shoulder in and down towards the ground. Both hands landing either side of the front foot, lifting the back heel. Inhale, rise to fingertips and collapse the lunge as you're breathing out. As we inhale, step it forward and come to a half lift at the same time. Then exhale to fold again. Wait for your out breath to rise up into standing. Take an in-breath to open the arms, palms facing. And as we breathe out, soften the knees and the hands come close. Now we're back with the energy that lies between these two hands, and we're lifting it up while we're lifting the left knee. Let's inhale to do so. And then place your ankle to the thighs while you're opening the arms back out. And now you would have pushed with one forward, one backwards. Let's change that. Whatever you feel drawn to, do the opposite. As we're crossing the energies back over in front of our body. While you then let your foot slide out for your eagle, keep winding your arms up either to hug your shoulders or to come into full eagle arms. Finding our balance. Noticing how we can hardly tell again which side is which. Energy is connected. Well, we will unwind again to open, lift your left knee again. Now we will step back into the lunge with the palms facing in front of the chest. We will inhale to extend the right arm and then push across as we're bending to the side. On the inhale, rising up, arms open. While you bring your hands closer, lower your back heel. Turning a little bit to the side as you inhale, open the arms again. And then come to that odd interlace behind your back. Pull the arms down and open your front. And while you're exhaling, leaning again towards the inside of the front knee with the arms maybe lifting away from the back. Notice both feet evenly as they are so separate and yet holding the same energies, upright as well as grounded. As you let your hands release, keep the shape in your feet, reaching forward with the right arm, maybe looking into the palm of the hand. And then sweep that arm up while you slide the other hand back, extend it all the way over the head. Keep the front knee in a bend, your assaulted warrior shape. We're straightening through the front leg, inhaling. And then on an exhale, tilt that all the way forward into Trikonasana or the triangle. Rolling your upper arm and shoulder down as you bring your hands down to the mat. Lift the back heel, lengthen the spine again, finding your in-breath. Collapsing it entirely as you're breathing out. Then step the foot to the front for the inhale and your half lift. But this time, as we're breathing out, we're finding our way down onto the mat to a seat. I will ask you to bend your right knee, extending your left leg out. And to deliberately turn yourself to center between the legs. Pointing the toes on the left leg upwards. We'll use our arms once more. So while we're inhaling, take the arms apart. And when we're exhaling, bring that energy back together in front of your heart space. While you're inhaling, extending the right arm up. And then push out and bend to the side. Well, you might be keeping your hands this way, You could also reach with your hand towards the thigh or your knee. Allowing yourself to take 3 deep breaths, bending to your side. Whenever you've completed those 3 breaths, roll upper arm and shoulder down and curl yourself back up to sit. Now bending the left leg in, reaching the left arm up, placing your left hand fingertips behind your head or between your shoulder blades. And there's 2 choices here. You could just take your elbow into the other hand and gently draw that back. And if that's all that you need today, stay here. Otherwise, reach the arm out and then try a bind behind your back. It's okay if that's not happening. Make sure the head is upright. We're sitting tall. A little bit of different openness through the shoulders. Let's release the hands again. Take a breath in, find your arms open. And just release your fingertips down to the floor as you're breathing out. We'll slide our right leg out long now. Start to turn the toes on that leg up to face the ceiling and center yourself between your legs. While we're sitting here, let's open the arms. Inhale. On the exhale, condense the energy in front of your heart space. And while you breathe in, let the left arm reach up. And as you're exhaling, push across to the other side and bend. Your choice of holding just as is, or resting the hand against the knee, the thigh, but keep bending to your side. 3 more breaths. And if you have completed your 3 breaths, you can roll your upper arm and shoulder down and forward. And as you curl up to sit, open the arms again as you're sliding your right foot in front. And then bringing the hands to condense again. Let's reach the right arm up. Imagine I would do so. Placing your fingertips behind. The other hand could reach for the elbow and just draw that elbow back. Or you could reach the arm outwards and bring it behind the back for a potential bind. Making sure the head is upright. You're sitting tall. Now, when you're next inhaling, open the arms again and landing your fingertips onto the ground. Both legs extend out. Now, this is a good excuse to put some socks on to gather everything that you need for relaxation. We are almost there. So while you take your in-breath here, and then on the out breath, rolling yourself down onto your back. Releasing the arms and stepping the feet up onto the ground. Make sure that your back is now really comfortable on the floor, and I invite those of you who feel their shoulders, neck are perfect, and you would like to do a shoulder stand to come into a shoulder stand. Always making sure that if you do, your chin is a little bit away from the chest once the legs are extended upwards, so you've got space behind your neck. And those of you who aren't into shoulder stands, bring your knees over the chest anyway, extend your legs up towards the ceiling. If you would like any support, you could pop a cushion or fists underneath the buttocks. As I would ask you in your chosen inversion to just flex the feet for a moment. So the toes are pointing lightly towards your face, and the soles of the feet are pointing up towards the ceiling. As you notice now the energy through the soles of the feet. You might take your legs a little bit wider apart into a V shape while you're breathing in. And then maybe bending the knees and bringing the soles of the feet almost to touch. Then let us extend the legs back to the ceiling, and you might point the feet here now. We'll roll down gently onto the floor if the hips were up in the air, and we'll remove any support from underneath the hips if they weren't. Let your knees now bend in towards the chest and your feet land down, slightly separate or touching the edges of the mat. And we will open the arms out wide with the palms of the hands facing upwards. As you rest here, in your mind, connect again to the palms of the hands. Although they're not facing, they're still holding the same energy. And as you're breathing out, let your knees roll all the way towards the left-hand side. And you might turn your gaze, or maybe just the inner awareness, towards the right hand. While inhaling, use your strength to bring your knees back up, and then let them roll towards the right. And your inner gaze, or even your head, is bringing its attention towards the left hand. While you're using your inner strength, bringing your knees back up, your head to center. Let the arms just slide a little bit lower, but keep the palms of the hands facing up, and either let your knees drop in together or come into a full Shavasana as you might extend the legs out long and let them roll away from each other as well. Closing the eyes when you're ready. And find a steady Shavasana or relaxation pose. Tapping in either to just follow the flow of the breath if you choose, or bringing awareness into your core center. As you have your hands extended to the left and to the right, your awareness extends to these sides right from your core. Each hand represents the two polarities of yourself, right and left, dominant and non-dominant, north and south, male and female, idolized and devalued, yin and yang. Each hand has its own center of awareness and perception. Each hand has its own separate past history of interaction with the world. Each hand has learned different lessons from these interactions. The dominant hand has received the majority of your attention and energy. And as a result, you have a better relationship with that hand. It responds faster and better to your conscious intention than your non-dominant hand. That hand might be weaker, slower, not as responsive or immediate. In some way, one's idolized and one devalued. With as little effort as is possible and keeping your two sides in your awareness, find your way to a seated shape where those hands are apart and yet facing each other again. Keeping the attention and maybe the eyes closed in those two hands that are facing. And pull your awareness down to your core as you let your hands come closer. What do you notice as the palms are approaching? Allow them to stay separate but quite close. Noticing the temperature exchange Imagine the experiences that these palms have stored. How they're connected to the brain. And how they begin to exchange that energy as you slowly let the palms come to touch. Accepting them as part of yourself. Although they might be very different. Accepting is awareness. Acceptance of these differences also essential for change and transformation. Allowing the thumbs to lightly touch the heart space to finish our practice with the sound of Om. We're inhaling and exhaling. We're breathing in again and out on the Om. Bow our head lightly towards our center, where we can easily extend to each other. Namaste.